Happy Easter. It is the 9th of April 2023. You're tuned to KBC Channel 1 and this is Sunday Express. Well, if you're a soccer fan, I'm sure you have been watching the game between Arsenal and Liverpool that ended on a 2-2 draw. That will be coming up as we focus on stories that have been making headlines this Sunday, being that is Resurrection Sunday, as Christian faithfuls across the world marked this particular day. Now that he is risen, now that he has resurrected, there is hope in your life and in humanity's existence. That and so much more will be coming up as we speak Matters News tonight. But before that, let's have a sneak peek to those stories that have been making headlines. Let's put in more work. President urges Kenyans to intensify farming efforts. Search for water, and the second installment of the Tana River Paradox feature will spotlight deserted villages. And the exit of a legend. The Kenyan Sports Fraternity mourns the demise of Kenya Volleyball Federation President Waithaka Kioni. Good evening. If you're tuning in, this is Sunday Express. I'm Regina, Manyara, and our sign language interpreter is none other than Lensa Odingo. Now, President William Ruto has implored on all farmers and landowners to double their efforts in cultivation of food crops. The head of state has at the same time encouraged Kenyans to use the Easter holiday to reflect on the need for caring for one another.
President William Ruto and his family attended Easter Sunday service at AIC Fellowship Church in Eldoret Town, Uasin Gishu County. The head of state urging farmers to double their efforts, saying the cost of living will only go down once the nation achieves food security.
I know we have a big debate in the country about the cost of living and how we need to reduce the cost of food. But it boils down to what we do as farmers. So as a farmer also, I came down here to look at what I can do to make a contribution to food production in our country so that we can reduce the cost of living.
President Ruto, who has spent the Easter holidays at his farm, reiterating the government's strategy of subsidizing production cost instead of consumption, has decreased the cost of inputs.
I was informed by the Kenya Seed Company that they have sold an extra 200,000 bags, I think, of seed, and they tell me that we will have an extra 200,000 roughly additional acres of land under production this year, and that gives me confidence that going forward we can actually reduce the number of people who are going hungry.
The head of state at the same time lauded the clergy for praying for peace and unity of the nation. He also called for concerted efforts by parents, leaders and other stakeholders to ensure the youth are mentored to be responsible citizens.
We have a serious crisis of drug abuse in our nation. Parents, starting with myself, we need to look out for our children and the children of Kenya.
Let's continue praying for families because families are under attack. But when we stand as a church and pray for families, God is going to see us through. A strong family gives us a strong church. A strong family gives us a strong country.
Gishu Kiwashira, Sunday Express.
Easter message there from the first family. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is set to convene a leaders' conference to come up with radical measures to eliminate illicit brew and drugs in the central region. Speaking during a service at PCA Center Church in Gorano, Madera constituency in Manyara County, Gachagua said President William Ruto had instructed him to organize a meeting bringing together national, county, elected and administrative leaders from the 5 counties to come up with recommendations to deal with illicit brews and substances.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says it was no longer tenable for leaders to look away as alcohol and illicit drugs ravaged the region. The Deputy President said relevant leaders from the region who will miss the conference will have to be answerable to the people.
As the leaders from this region, we cannot sit back. It will be unforgivable. God will never forgive us. The people of this region will never forgive us if we just sat back and watch as an entire generation is being wiped out.
The Deputy President is of the view that the illicit brew dealers targeted young people between 12 and 30 with the intention of bringing down a whole community. Meanwhile, the government will, in the last week of April, convene a stakeholder conference on the implementation of coffee reforms. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the conference will bring together representatives of coffee farmers, governors, lawmakers, cabinet secretaries, and members of the Coffee Exchange and Coffee Directorate to firm up proposed reforms in the subsector.
The purpose of that stakeholders conference is to agree, it's a 3-day conference, is to agree what is to be done, so that once we have agreed on the reforms, the members of the National Assembly and the Senate President will take it up from there.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture, presently coffee is grown in 31 counties by 2 distinct categories of farmers, smallholders and estates. The subsector supports approximately 5 million people through forward and backward linkages. The government says it is on the path to invigorating the sector through stakeholder engagement.
Retired President Uhuru Kenyatta joined faithfuls at St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in Nyali, Mombasa County to celebrate Easter Sunday. The former head of state, accompanied by the former First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, kept a low profile during the mass that culminated in a fundraiser. Uhuru later mingled with the congregants, exchanging pleasantries and messages of goodwill. In his first public appearance since the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition began an anti-government protest to address the economic status in the country. You'd say he's more sociable that now he's a former president, eh? Well, still keeping up with matters of Easter, messages of peace and love reverberated across different churches in the country and abroad as Christian faithful gathered to celebrate Easter. Clergy, in their Easter messages to believers, called on for the spreading of peace and tolerance in the pursuit of a desired country. At the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi, it was song and dance as the faithful celebrated the resurrection of Jesus Christ, led by Nairobi Metropolitan Archbishop Philip Anyolo. For Catholic faithful, it is the culmination of Lent, a 40-day period of prayer, fasting and repentance.
We want to appeal to all our leaders. Even now, as we talk about various leaderships of party, ruling parties or government and other oppositional parties, want to talk to them that they may manage our country in a way that people will live loving one another.
At the All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi, hundreds of faithful gathered for the Easter Sunday service with the sermon delivered by Anglican Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit. Here, the message of peace too culminated his sermon.
As a people, as a nation, let us not disrupt our peace, because it is a peace of Christ in us. We need peace in our nation, peace of mind, peace in our families, peace in our communities.
In Mombasa, Archbishop Martin Kivuva urged politicians to unconditionally embrace the call for bipartisan dialogue between the government and the opposition over the challenges facing the country.
Talking is not about seeking personal benefits. We truly hope they will address They always uplift Kenyans. They should listen and solve the political hurdles that keep ailing us.
At the Vatican, Pope Francis, while presiding over a mass at St. Peter's Square, called for peace and understanding in countries affected by war, famine and hardship around the world. The 86-year-old Pope has returned to his papal duties after a recent stay in hospital due to bronchitis.
Rendete grazie al Signore perché buono.
Addressing over 45,000 believers, the head of the Catholic Church called on the international community to strive to end war, conflict and bloodshed in the world, especially in Syria, Russia, Israel, Palestine, Haiti, Ethiopia, South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Christian leaders continue making a clarion call for peace and love among political leaders and Kenyans. This even as Christians celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ 3 days after Good Friday. Jacqueline Masharia for Sunday Express.
Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has ruled out talks on power-sharing deal between the Kenya Kwanza government and the opposition Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. Kuria, however, maintains the government is ready to dialogue with the opposition on development-related issues.
A section of leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza government on Sunday converged at Baraka PCA in Nanyuki for a Thanksgiving service for Laikipia County Member of Parliament Jen Kagiri. It is here that they reiterated that bipartisan talks with the opposition can only be on matters concerning national development.
Sisi hatujakataa kukaa chini na mtu yeyote wa hapa nchini ama wa Kireni kujadiliana vile tunaweza kufanya kazi zaidi ama kujadiliana vile pengine kuna njia nyingine ya kufanya kazi kuliko vile tunafanya.
Led by Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, the leaders claim a vibrant opposition is critical to keep the government in check. Therefore, there can never be a power-sharing deal.
Kuhakikishia kwa niaba ya Rais William Ruto, makamu wake na Rigathi Gachagua na sisi baraza la mawaziri, sisi hakuna serikali tunagawanya na mtu. Kama miaka mitano hatutakuwa tumefanya kazi, nyinyi mko hapa, mchukue kalamu, mkuje mtukosoe, muandike wengine.
The leaders also decried inadequate bursary allocation, saying resources should be shared based on the population.
Tuketi chini tuone mgao wa mapato ya serikali umegawa kulingana na wingi, na hapo ndio kutakuwa na usawa wa maendeleo.
Kitu ya pili ni ugavi wa rasilimali katika hii nchi. Mimi kama kiongozi ambaye anawakilisha upande sana wa Mount Kenya, ni vizuri niseme kwa sauti moja na niseme.
Hata kama salamu itafanywa, ifanywe ndio. Watu waongee ndio. Lakini mambo ya kugawa serikali, mambo ya nusu mkati, hiyo kwa kweli tumekataa.
For Sunday Express, I'm Zainab Said.
Away from politics, now the identity of some of the victims and survivors of the deadly accident that took place in Migori town are emerging as families begin to make burial arrangements for their dead. One of those who lost their lives is Reverend Felix Odhiambo Odiwuor of the St. Peter's Urban Parish, Migori. The late clergy has been eulogized as a diligent servant of the Lord who was committed to the gospel.
Saturday, April the 8th at 7:30 a.m. will forever linger in the minds of many Migori residents, especially those who lost their loved ones in the accident. The death toll in the accident has risen to 9 after one of the victims succumbed to injuries at the Migori County Referral Hospital. While confirming the death toll, Suna West Sub-County Police Commander Elizabeth Walukoba said that the 8 people were still receiving treatment in the hospital. Among the dead is Reverend Felix Odhiambo Odiwuor of ACK St. Peter's Urban Parish, Migori.
Yesterday we are hit by sad news from the Diocese of Southern Nyanza, where 3 of our beloved perished in a road accident. The Reverend Captain Felix Odhiambo, his son and nephew.
ACK St. Peter's Migori Urban Parish has mourned the vicar, describing him as a kind and hard-working man. A woman was also tossed into the river Migori by the deadly impact. Police have launched a search for a miner who is said to have been selling coffee and was also thrown into the river. The driver of the ill-fated vehicle, 36-year-old Peter Ndua, was one of the survivors. He sustained serious injuries to the head and is recuperating at the Migori County Referral Hospital's intensive care unit.
Well, if you come across that particular video that we could not go to broadcast with, you'd see that even after the accident, there were Kenyans, instead of rescuing those who could be rescued, went for the rice that was spilled on the road. May the soul of the departed continue resting in peace. Now, the government has dispatched a security team to Chuka, Tharaka Nithi County to investigate protests that erupted in the town on Saturday night over the murder of 2 people. The demonstrations were sparked by the killing of 1 person last week and the fatal shooting of another when residents engaged the police in running battles. The Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA, has also launched investigation into the shooting incident that happened on Saturday.
Angry residents stormed the busy Chuka town in Tharaka Nithi County on Saturday evening. Businesses standstill as protesters called for the arrest of suspects implicated in the murder of a resident last week. The irate demonstrators picked the body of the deceased from Chuka Hospital mortuary and dumped it at Chuka town, where they blocked several roads, including the Embu Meru Highway. The demos attracting the attention of security personnel who were forced to lob tear gas canisters. They also shot in the air to disperse the mob, and 1 person identified as a boda rider was fatally shot. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, through his Twitter handle, has assured residents of impartial investigations, appealing for calm. He further condoled with the families of the victims, warning that those found culpable of the crimes will face the law.
On that note, we take a quick breather, but we'll be back with more, including what is happening across the counties. Do not go away.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
My aim haikuwa kuua, ilikuwa pesa.
I was listening to things that were just amusing and like, really? Okay, yes, you say that I gave you money. What money?
You know, when a murder happens in a family, you know, a spouse has died, the obvious automatic suspect is the other spouse.
Good evening, this is Sunday Express. The residents of Lakeside City of Kisumu had an Easter holiday to remember after the county's Department of Trade, Tourism, Marketing and Enterprise organized a 4-day festival to promote tourism activities in the county. Dubbed Kisumu Fish Fiesta, the event provided local traders and visiting exhibitors an opportunity to showcase cultural products made from local materials, and as Wycliffe Okech reports, it was a sight to behold.
Residents of Kisumu and its environs flocked to the Dunga Hippo Point public beach in the lakeside city of Kisumu to sample the Kisumu Fish Fiesta, an event meant to promote local tourism activities.
I'm very much happy. All the events that are happening here, they're just marvelous. They're just capiche. They're wow. I can't say anything beyond this because I'm just happy.
Traders and exhibitors from within and outside made the most of the 4-day festival that started on Thursday, displaying and selling various products crafted from local raw materials such as water hyacinth and dried fish.
Before Fish Fiesta, tulikuwa tunauza yes, but hiyo time tulikuwa tunauza weekends, ndo tulikuwa tunauza most. Alafu sasa hii time ya Fiesta, pia tunauza vizuri.
Vile tunakaa hapa ipo on Saturday na Sunday ndio soko yetu tunauza vizuri.
And these are the fish scales from the fish and the gelatins from the fish skin and fish soap from the fish oil. So basically in fish there's nothing like waste in a fish.
Hali ya biashara okay, at least tunapata wageni kidogo. Wageni wanapatikana.
Cultural dances, wrestling and tug of war competitions among other activities were also part and parcel of the festival, much to the excitement of the locals.
When I heard of Fish Fiesta, I thought I would just be coming here to eat fish and see nothing else. But then I realized, hey, there is quite a bit of things that people were not expecting to see here. So I think if there will be another one next time, like next year, then I'll come earlier.
The Kisumu County government has termed the festival as the beginning of an extensive approach to position the Lakeside County as the tourism destination of choice, especially in the Western Kenya region.
The main aim is to revamp our trade. We also want to change the narrative that people think Kisumu is not a destination for tourism. We want to change that narrative and make people realize that Kisumu is the place to be.
Ranging from boat rides to traditional dances to exhibitions, the Kisumu Fish Fiesta 2023 has created a near-perfect Easter holiday to the locals here, who only hope that the event can be replicated annually. For Sunday Express from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Is it Kisumu Dala or Kisumu Pacho? Whatever it is, well, now you need to get down to that particular county and enjoy what it has to offer in as far as tourism activities. Now we cross over to Chuka, where better is yet to come for residents had hit by the drought in Tana River County. Lack of resources, mostly water, has had a catastrophic effect on pastoral communities who are forced to migrate in search of food and pasture. This in turn has led to a lot of children dropping out of school as they move around with their families. Tonight, Teresa Mutai brings us the second part of the Tana.
On our second day in Tana River, we traveled to Chifiri village. The sight that greets us is miles and miles of barren land that can barely sustain life. It is one of many areas severely affected by drought. The residents here are pastoralists. Most of them are said to have migrated to Galole, Bura, or Hirmani in search of water and pasture. At the time of our visit, Chifiri villagers had gathered at a water tank. Other residents continue to trickle in, rolling their barrels while some are held at hand. The water brought in by World Vision is first checked for chlorine levels and turbidity.
Kukiwemo na hiyo kiangazi kama kawaida, afya ya umma tumeweza kuwa affected in a way kwa sababu yale magonjwa ambayo yanahusiana na maji, kesi zake ukiangalia katika top 10 diseases kwa kila dispensary ya hii ward unapata zimeenda juu.
A section of the residents agree to tell us what it means to lack the precious commodity.
Sasa vile tuko hapa hatuna hata tone ya maji kwa kisima, kwa damu, na hatuna popote wa kwenye tunaweza kupata maji ila huku skimu ya Bura.
Wanafunzi wengi wameathirika ajili ya mambo ya ukame, wengi hata waende shule kwa sababu hawana chakula.
Lack of water and pasture has negatively affected learning as parents request temporary leave for their children.
Most of even school in Chifiri Primary and Hakoka Primary imekuwa affected. Boreholes ikitobolewa na watu wakiwa na maji hawangeondoka.
A visit to the nearby Hakoka Primary School confirms Guyo's narrative.
Good afternoon, class. How are you?
Very fine, thank you, sir. The head teacher Mohammed Komora says only 215 learners remain in school. 10 of them will sit the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations this year.
Nearly 50% of them have gone to other places because of drought. Imekuwa kiangazi, kimekuwa kikali, wazazi wamehama na watoto wao. Shida ni moja, shida imekuwa ni maji.
Currently, I am at Hakoka Primary School. This is grade 4, and the students who have been recorded present at the moment are 15. There is low turnout, and what is being mentioned as an impediment to students coming to school? Water scarcity. Musa Somo is in grade 5. Most of his friends have taken a break from school.
Marafiki zangu wengine leo hapo shuleni, kisa walitembea huko Bura kutafuta maji. Na sasa maji ilikuja, nadhani wanafikiri waliona gari watarudi. Tafadhali tusaidie na serikali.
Access to water remains a major challenge as most water ponds in the region have dried up.
The distances to water sources has significantly increased to an average of 8 kilometers. Some areas go to 15, but here even where we are standing, the nearest water source is 28 kilometers from here, that is in Bura. And therefore, as part of short-term intervention, we're doing water tracking. We hope and look forward for a more long-lasting solution.
Ultimately, long-lasting solutions like piped water and drilling boreholes should be implemented in the region, where over 133,000 people need humanitarian assistance. This is a Hakoka water pan. Normally, it is supposed to be filled with water, but what is visible is big cracks on the ground, proving that water pans are no longer sustainable in regions where drought prolonged for even a year. Hence, there is need to implement more sustainable measures. For KBC Channel 1, I am Teresa Mutai.
Well, the final segment of that particular docu-series by Teresa Mutai will be coming your way tomorrow, so save the date. For now, you can get to play back what aired today, just a few minutes ago, as well as what aired yesterday on our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1. Now to the counties. The management of the Kihara Level 4 Hospital and the Kiambu County Government are on the spot over poor services being rendered to patients. Details of this and other stories in our county news roundup.
This is the Kihara Level 4 Hospital, deserted with doors remaining closed. It allegedly has limited human capital to serve residents of Kihara Ward and its surroundings. Aggrieved residents are now calling on Kiambu County Governor Wamatangi to help improve facilities and services at the hospital located in Kiambaa constituency.
Kufika hapa, nimekuta huduma ziko chini sana. Nimepembeleza tu kwa kasha, nimepembeleza daktari ili at least nipate matibabu.
Barabara ni giza na hiyo si ndio inahudumia wagonjwa wengi sana. Ukitembea hapa nje kuna masaa mama anakuja hapa nje kujifungua, unapata mama anajifungulia hapa kwa gate.
We have a very big issue with the hospital, the management of the hospital, the governor. There is no medicine, there is no lights, there is no any services that is given here. No staff. The staff, like right now as we talk, the staff have 5 months. They have not been paid salaries.
Elsewhere, owners of liquor stores that do not adhere to rules and regulations provided by the law have been put on notice by the Meru Alcoholic and Drinks Board. This comes amidst the mushrooming of bars and wines and spirits outlets.
Wines and spirits inatakikana ifunguliwe kitu saa 4. Mtu akikuja anunue abebe akatumie nyumbani au pale ingine, lakini imekuwa na imefika kiwango ya mtu kuweka mpaka counter na stuire mulevi asina tabu. na anawekewa nusu, anawekewa, anachanganyikiwa, anachanganya na sonda na vitu vingine. Hii haitakikani.
In Busia County Government, the Department of Agriculture has embarked on the revival of fish pond farming projects across its 7 sub-counties in an effort to boost fish farming. The initiative also aims at ensuring that food production rate increases by doing transformative agriculture.
We are opening up the inland. What you are seeing producing fingerlings is for you. Ukichimba hapo, tunakuwekea. Of course, it may not be free. My technical team will sit with you.
Tunaweza kuzalisha karibu tan 2 kwa kila siku.
And Limuru Girls in Kiambu County is commemorating 100 years since its inception in 1922. According to the school's principal, Teresa Mwangi, the institution requires about 200 million to construct new classrooms and give it a facelift.
The school has actually grown from 4 girls, daughters of MacDonald. It is now accommodating 2,063 girls.
There are so many old girls who have passed in the hands of this school, great school. So it is only fair that they come back and help expand the school so that it can be able to help generations and generations.
For Sunday Express, I am Arnold Feather.
You're still watching Sunday Express. We take a quick breather. When you're back, we're going to be speaking sports. I know Arsenal fans are not too happy with what happened between Liverpool and Arsenal. We have the updates with none other than Daniel Wahome to keep it right here.
Nafasi yako ya kuwa mdosi wako. Jiunge na washindi tufanye biashara. Kuwa mshindi. Mozartbet.
Maikuwa kuua. Ilikuwa pesa.
I was listening to things that were just amusing and like, really? Okay. Yes, you say that I gave you money. What money?
You know, when a murder happens in a family, you know, a spouse has died, the obvious automatic suspect is the other spouse.
News is brought to you by Mozartbet.
Kurumisha ndege. Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozartbet.
Now, a very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to the sport. Now, the Kenya National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa finished 10th at the Singapore Sevens, the leg in which they won their only title back in 2016. Shujaa lost to Spain in the 9th place final, having secured that slot by beating Canada in the quarterfinals and Japan in the semi-finals.
Kenya's Shujaa missed out on a 9th place finish at the Singapore leg of the World Series after losing 26-10 to Spain in the final. Despite easily strolling into the final, Shujaa only managed 2 unconverted tries against Spain, delivered by Alvin Otieno and Edmund Anya.
Kenya, Alvin Otieno, chalk it up for number 50. Good mutton napping this time, and we've seen him dart down that sideline so many times. Even if you catch up to him, you've got a big job to do to try and stop that powerhouse. Congratulations, Alvin Otieno. 5-0, all yours.
Spain touched down 4 times, with 3 of those tries converted. Kenya began the day with an easy 28-14 win over Canada in the 9th place quarter-final. The 4 tries against Canada came courtesy of George Angeyo, Brian Tanga, Kevin Wekesa and Edmund Anya, with the 4 conversions accurately dispatched by Anthony Omondi and Daniel Tabu, both doing it twice.
Oh, he's in the corner. The big 5, the lion, the leopard, the rhino, the elephant, and Alvin Otieno.
That win secured a semi-final place against Japan, with Kenya thrashing their opponents 40-7. George Angeyo, Alvin Otieno, Anthony Omondi, Johnston Olindi, and John Okoth got Kenya's tries, which were all converted by Daniel Tabu and Anthony Omondi, who converted 4. Shujaa will now return home to prepare for the final 2 legs of the season, to be held in Toulouse and London in May.
Wrap on the wing, whether you're the passer or the one wrapping around, it's so beautiful.
Now, the 31st edition of the Kenya Open Chess Championship entered day 4 today in Nairobi, with rounds 7 and 8 being played. The event has attracted a record total of 374 players from 19 countries.
After the first 6 rounds of the Kenya Open Chess Championship that saw first encounters of Grandmasters meeting, pre-tournament favourite Timur Gareyev was sole leader with maximum points after defeating Pavel Pankratov of Russia. In the all-Egyptian clash, Grandmaster Fauzi Adham floored Grandmaster Hesham Abdelrahman as the 17-year-old American-Indian international master Samat Aditi stood his ground to draw with second-seed Grandmaster Eltaj Safarli. In the ladies section, top seed GM Josephine Heinemann of Germany is also at maximum points to lead on tiebreak with same points as GM Sahenda Wafa of Egypt. There was a major upset in the open section when 20-year-old FIDE master Banel Muhango from Mpumalanga, South Africa, upset Zambian international master Andrew Kayonde. It will be remembered that in 2018, Muhango was bronze medalist in the Africa Youth Chess Championship in the under-16 boys category held in Kisumu, Kenya, to earn the candidate master title. This feat earned him Sportsman of the Year award in South Africa. In the ladies section, round 6 saw 19-year-old Mercy Ingado draw with 6-time Olympian Gloria Jumba as Nicole Albright shocked 2021 World Chess Championship gold medalist Madelta Glenda. Mercy was the gold medalist at the 2021 Africa School Individual Chess Championship in the under-17 girls category.
One of the aims of this tournament was to gauge our progress as a federation. We have met in terms of quality. And when I see players getting very good scores against international grandmasters, the national masters, it really gives me joy because it means as a federation we are growing and we are now achieving a world-class status.
The 9-round event will end tomorrow.
Thank you, Buckley Feather, for that report. Now, messages of condolences have continued to pour in following the passing on of National Olympic Committee of Kenya Second Vice President and the President of the Kenya Volleyball Federation, Waithaka Kioni. Kioni passed on this morning in Nairobi after a short illness. In a press statement, NOC President Paul Tergat conveyed the sad news, saying the country has lost an ardent volleyball sports leader over the years. Kioni has also been serving as CAVB Vice President after defending the seat 2 years ago. Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba condoled with the family of the late volleyball supremo, saying Kioni has been a towering enthusiast and leader in the world of sports, particularly in volleyball.
He's been a mentor to many. He's played a key role to putting Kenya on the map where it is now, right on top of Africa, and threatening to get to the higher echelons in the world ranking.
He has mentored us when we were players. Now I'm a coach. He gave me the chance to be a national team coach. He was now showing me how I can be the leader of this volleyball family. And a sad moment for me in particular because this news came when we are playing my tournament.
He has actually cultivated a lot of volleyball in Kenya.
He has gone to grassroots to get girls who are so disadvantaged to play the game. He has also mentored leaders who are actually walking in his footsteps to put volleyball on the world. He actually took Kenya for the first time to participate in the World Championship in Japan.
Now, condolences to Kenya's sporting family, and late this evening, the Kenya Motorsport Federation also sent out a message of condolence to the family of the late Waithaka Kioni, and this is the reason. His sons, David Kioni and Mwangi Kioni, have been rallying together. They rallied together as a partnership, and last year during the Junior WRC Championship, his son Mwangi Kioni navigated Makre Kimathi throughout 6 rallies and also throughout the 7 rallies in the Africa Rally Championship. This was a big blow to Kenya's sporting fraternity. We continue to mourn. Now, moving on, the Boxing Federation of Kenya has picked 21 pugilists, 13 men and 8 women, ahead of the Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championship, slated for the 18th to the 22nd of April in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The Kenyan team is currently in a non-residential training camp at the Madari Depot in preparation for the regional showpiece. Some of the top pugilists in the men's squad are Shafi Bakari, David Karanja, Boniface Mugunde and Samuel Njau, while the women's squad will be led by Christine Ongare, Friza Anyango, Amina Martha, and veteran Elizabeth Giengo. Kenya finished second in last year's championship held in the Democratic Republic of Congo with 18 medals behind hosts the DRC.
Timu imekuwa ikiendelea vizuri na mazoezi. Imekuwa baada ya timu ya kinadada kutoka kule India, tumekuja na tukaanza mazoezi moja kwa moja pamoja na timu ya wanaume ambao pia watakuwa wanatumia mashindano haya kama maandalizi ya ubingwa wa dunia wa mchezo wa upande wa kina wanaume ambao utaanza tarehe 1 mwezi wa 5.
Nishapata challenges mom kwa zone 3, so na work more extra hard na believe still ndoto yangu hata bado kama nitapata gold in Africa bado nitakuwa sijatimiza ndoto yangu. Juu ndoto yangu ni wa foreign, wachana na Africa.
Tunaendelea na preparation yetu which is okay na tunashukuru God. It's not rahisi. Si rahisi. You have to put your heart. Unaweka hati yako yote hapa.
Now, FKF Premier League side AFC Leopards were held to a goalless draw by Kenya Police in a closely contested match played at the Nyayo National Stadium. Ingwe failed to bag maximum points for the second time this week after losing by a goal to nil to Tusker FC in a midweek clash. Meanwhile, Gor Mahia maintained their grip at the top of the log with a 2-0 win over Kariobangi Sharks at the Kasarani Stadium. Austin Odhiambo scored a brace for Kogalo. In other matches, Talanta FC humbled Wazito FC 2-0, while Mathare United lost by a goal to nil to Vihiga Bullets. Posta Rangers swept Nairobi City Stars by 3 goals to 2, while hosts Ulinzi Stars were held to a barren draw by KCB. And Kakamega Homeboys lost by a goal to nil to Bandari, while defending champions Tusker FC registered a 2-0 win over Sofapaka. Now, 6 goals were scored by Sliders into the Black Tigers net as the Hockey League continued over the Easter holidays at the City Park Stadium. It was the only high-scoring encounter in the 6 matches played today.
A total of 6 league matches were played today at the City Park Stadium, but a goals galore was witnessed in the game between Sliders and Black Tigers, where 6 were put into the net by Sliders. The most competitive game of the day was between Kenyatta University and Wolverine, where only 1 goal was scored due to the tightness of both sides' defenses. Wolverine managed to get past KU defense in that game and scored in the 10th minute through Cynthia Amule. Blazers came from a goal down to beat Strathmore 2-1 thanks to goals by Georgina Lumumba and Jerry Juma. Strathmore had taken a first half lead through Diana Awino. In the other game of the day, Parkland Sports Club drew 1-1 with JKUat. 4 more matches will be played tomorrow. Twingle will face Sliders in the opening match at City Park Stadium before KU face Park Road Badgers. Wolverine will play Amira Sailors as Wazalendo end the day against Kenya Police.
Now, Roberto Firmino's late equalizer saw Arsenal's lead at the top of the English Premier League cut to 6 points after an incident-packed encounter with Liverpool at Anfield. The Gunners were in cruise control with a 2-goal lead inside the first half hour as they went in search for their first win at Liverpool since 2012, but were left bitterly disappointed as they paid the price for losing their discipline in spells and conceded that advantage.